Hello everybody, it's Rachel here at Clarty Hands Crafts, and in today's video I am going to be making some altered paper clips. I have a large one and a couple of small ones to do. So the first thing that I like to do is start off with a strip of paper, no particular size, just any size you like, and then I put the paper clip over the folded edge of that, and that is going to be the piece that actually slides over your page. And then I'm inking another piece here, and I'm just going to slip that over the top of the paper clip so that it hides it completely. Now you'll need plenty of glue to stick this down, and that's just to make sure that the paper clip is not going to slide out at any point. And you just want to keep it nice and secure so that it doesn't wiggle around and get out of position. So I'm just using my art glitter glue for that. I was having a bit of trouble with the nib today. This is a piece of vellum, so I was just playing around with the placement, and I approached this in a similar way to how I would do clusters. So I just go with the feel of it and decide which little bits I would like to stick on. I test them out and then stick them, and then if something doesn't work, then I'll just put it to one side without sticking it. This scrap of script is something that I got out of, was it the Janet Marsh Nature Journal, I think that was called, and it's going to come in useful for lots of different things. I've got this piece of net curtain as well, my trusty net curtain, which has been in my stash for ages and it's still going strong. There's still got loads of it left, and that just adds a more interesting piece of texture to layer over the top. And then I had this little stamped image on a rounded cornered square, and I thought that would look nice backed with some text paper. That was just from a paper pad that I got, I think it was from Poundland. So it was inexpensive and it's been in my stash for quite a while. And then I thought if I round the corners, then that's going to make it easier to slide over the edge of the page. The thing to remember with bookmarks is that they're going to be double-sided, so you're going to need just as much interest and detail on the back as you are on the front. And some elements you can carry over from one side to the other as well, and just keep it nice and coordinated. So I had some more of the net curtain, but I used some of the more decorative section of it, and I stuck that down so that it would hang over the back. And then that gives me a background to pop something else on. I tried to use this piece of jute trim, which you'll have seen before in lots of videos because I've got quite a bit of it, and I wanted to make a kind of pull for it, but it didn't really work according to plan because I didn't stick it over the edge enough. I should have let it overhang a bit more so that it would be an easy grip for your thumb. But anyway, it looked nice and decorative, so I just left it as it was. And then I found these two little stamps that I got in a bundle of stamps, which I'd purchased I think off Etsy. It might have been eBay, I can't really remember. But they just set off the colours of the background, and I thought that would look cool. So just to give you an example of how it'll look, I'll just pop it onto this stray piece of paper. Oh, that needs resticking. Use plenty of glue, and I remembered to overlap it a little bit more at this point. Still wasn't the strongest thing that I could have used, but it will do for now. So having those rounded corners and the piece of paper that's underneath the paper clip, that just means that it slides straight on without any bother. So I'm doing the same thing again, just a random strip of paper that I had, and this was in blue tones because this is to go in my blue journal. And then I found these little ovals which came from some other project that I'd made on my Cricut machine. They were just leftovers. So I'm using my fingers there to make sure that the placement of the glue doesn't overhang right down to the bottom, because I want to have some of that blue card peeking out from underneath. I'm being careful not to glue down the sides of the oval, just at the top instead, and that makes sure that the ovals will be able to slide straight over the page. When you're sticking a piece of card over the top of a paperclip, you do need to be careful to make sure that all edges that need to be stuck down are stuck down, because they can easily come apart with there being a bit of bulk in between. So make sure you weigh it down while it dries. So the design that I did for this one was really simple. It was just a sticker that I had in my stash, and I thought that looked really pretty, so I just kind of left that as it was. And then the other side I had a little play around with a few different things, and then eventually I decided to use this blue flower that I had as well. I wanted something for the background, so just experimented a little bit with some bits and bobs that I had. I have a box that I keep all of these kinds of things in, so I was kind of having a rummage and pulling things out. Eventually I found this piece of lace, and then I thought that that would make a nice background for the flower, just to make it a bit more interesting, a bit more textured. So I trimmed that into the shape so that that could just be stuck down over the top of the oval. And then once that was done, I used plenty of glue for this. And then once that was done, I was able to stick the flower down over the top. I tried to give the flower a bit of shape as well, and a bit of ink to give it some more dimension. But it was quite delicate, so it was a bit difficult to do. But then that one was finished, and then just to prove it works, there we go. So this is a larger one. For some reason this piece of picture, which came from a book, I can't remember if that was the Janet Marsh one or if it was from the Edith Holden one, but either way I thought it was nice and it was calling to me, and I wanted to use that in a paperclip for some reason. So that's what I decided to do, and I thought I could use this as a bigger one. This scrap of paper had been in my scrap drawer and it was already stuck down on one side, so I just cut that off. And then the way that it was, you see how that folded edge is actually glued as well, so it doesn't open fully. But I thought that's fine and we can just work with it, and I popped the paperclip over that folded edge again. And then I was able to fold those pieces back over themselves to cover the paperclip on the front side. So when I'd done that, I stuck it down with loads and loads of glue on both sides, and then that encloses the paperclip entirely, and then I'm just left with a nice big surface to decorate afterwards. This paper it's not quite what I would call card, it's more like really thick paper. So it was ideal for doing this kind of thing because it didn't add too much bulk, but it was strong enough to withhold all of the sticking and gluing and decorations that I did. So I inked the edge of that picture that I had from the book, and then I decided that I wasn't happy with the edge that had been glued together by me today. So I didn't think it was quite secure enough, because I don't know if you could see there, it was kind of peeking out, so you could see the paperclip when you held it up on its side. So I used this narrow strip of fabric, which was just some calico, I think, just plain cotton, and I made a little kind of bandage to hide that edge. So that just added a bit of extra texture and a bit more of a design feature, but it wasn't something that was overpowering. It could fade into the background. So I did need to make sure that I trimmed it down to size properly, because something in me won't let me have edges overhanging. I really need to stop that, because that's the kind of look that I enjoy when I see other people's journals, when they just leave shabby bits like that. But for some reason I just want to neaten everything up. It's like in my nature to neaten things up, even though I'm not a neat and tidy person. And then I flipped it over and I decided that I wanted to have this pop of colour with all of these flowers. This was from a Tin Holtz ephemera pack, I think, anyway. So I knew that I wanted to have that in the middle, but it just kind of looked like it was floating, so I was looking for something else to back it with. And eventually I decided that a book page would do the trick. So I opened my Alice in Wonderland book and tore a page from it. And then it was just a case of deciding where the placement should go. So I tore it down into a narrow strip, and then there was still something missing. It still looked a bit too bare. So I thought that I could add yet more of my neck curtain. So I just used a bit of glue to stick that down. I don't worry too much about glue showing through because it doesn't tend to show through too badly. And then I glued down the flower, and I knew as well that that would help the lace to stay stuck down. So this is quite a thick piece of ephemera, and it was quite tricky to stick over the top of the paperclip because it kept wanting to lift up, so that's why I had to hold it for a good amount of time to make sure it stuck. So there's the third one. So that just goes to show that you can put your paper clips in sideways as well. And I hope you liked this quick little video. Thanks for watching.